Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with our second media availability of the day. We've got Ross Chastain, driver of the number 1 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet, our most recent winner in the NASCAR Cup Series, and our third different first-time winner of the 2022 season. Ross, tell us how your week's been since you got your first win.
It's been busy. Yeah, really. Not enough sleep until yesterday. We tried to do as much as we could, right, and take advantage of this opportunity. So, talked to about anybody. I think we didn't say no to anybody. They claimed they did turn some stuff down, some requests, but it was a full couple of days and fit a production day for the Moose fraternity in there, a full day at the shop, and a race at Millbridge to just keep learning dirt for Daniel and I. And we both made the feature, which was the goal. So, slept in yesterday. Flew here, went straight to the hotel, was in bed at 3 in the afternoon, woke up about 9 o'clock, back to sleep at about 11, and I feel a lot better this morning.
Sounds like a full week. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll start here up front with Bob, and then we'll go to Kelly.
A lot of those guys have won races before in their careers, but is there any different vibe in the shop this week compared to past weeks?
Once we got to the shop, I did make it there Monday. Our road crew, most of them came in Tuesday, so for people in the shop, I mean, smiles, but there's been smiles this year. There's been it's I know you've probably heard some of us talk about it, but it is different for the same building and most of the same employees. It's different. And this car gives us a lot of things to smile about, and then we've been fast. So some of us, though, it was our first win, and the people that have won before made sure to make it a point to give us some tips on how to remember it and to enjoy these little moments, because we were there for like the win breakfast and a win lunch. And I told Justin that was probably the most awkward part for me, was just like, it's what we've always worked for. Now we're celebrating it, and I almost feel like I'm a little bit of out of body experience. So, it was a lot of high fives. My hand is still sore, so a lot of high fives.
Kelly CrandallRacer.com. So Ross, you mentioned it's been a busy week. What have been some of the highlights or people that have reached out and things of that nature that maybe you weren't expecting or were like, okay, that's cool?
The highlights are talking to people back home. So, in Charlotte, Mooresville, this NASCAR stuff, it's a lot of people that have helped get me here, that have been a part of this journey. But when you look at the people that back home, that they weren't paid to do it, they had no really reason other than they liked racing or they were my family. And talking to them, hearing the stories of where they were at towards the end of the race, seeing a couple of videos of them reacting to the race, that's when it really sunk in. That's when it was like, okay, this is real. So, I talked to a guy that this morning on the way in that he raced late models, and he was the one that like taught my dad and me how to adjust wedge and heights on a coilover car. Like me and my dad knew bucket springs, and he knew like a metric chassis. That's what I started with. But when we went into late models, like we didn't know, and we looked at hiring or paying for like shocks and bump stops, but the cost was just like, I don't know, it seems like a lot. So we never did that. We just ran normal, whatever coilovers came on the car. And I was talking to him, and like he was the one there, a couple nights a week for years, like helping us scale it, because we didn't even know how to like adjust them. Definitely didn't. We never took the shocks apart like the whole time we had them. So just talking to him, and I mean he's retired from the sheriff's department and does some part-time work now, and just loves racing. So he helped us a lot. Rusty did. So that's been the coolest part, though, is talking to people back home, honestly.
And you said this week that the win won't change anything as far as the team's approach and just the way you're going to go about business or mindset. But for you, has a weight been lifted at all? Does it feel like a relief to just, I don't know, I guess just show people what you've been fighting for so long, that like you belong here type of deal?
I mean, I want to say no, but yes. I mean, just I'm human, so yeah, I've went to bed every night this week, or some nights were in the morning, but just, yeah, it does. it is. That's what I was talking about with Justin at the shop. Like, all right, we're here, we're eating as a company and as a family because we won. It's hard to really realize that. Like, I realize it, but it's hard to like the adrenaline had worn off by Tuesday or whenever we did it, and now it's like, okay, well, how do we, like, I'm here doing this, but it just felt odd. It just felt it was different. I had never done that. So, yeah, we don't do anything different. We rolled through tech just like everybody else yesterday. They were through tech in an hour and a half, passing the first time, 5th car through, and off to, machining wheels to get them ready for the weekend. And I was busy asleep at the hotel. So that did change for me. I've never done that. I've never flown in and went straight to bed, but I needed to catch up to be ready for this morning.
All right. Any more questions for Ross? All right. Let's go over here. Let's go to Dustin and then Bob.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Ross, I think, one of the things, at least from the outside in, it looks like it fuels you is kind of having a chip on your shoulder because of the path up and just and kind of being, you play yourself off as the underdog, or certainly the challenges that you've gone through. You've won before, so this is nothing new in that sense. But how do you manage, or how do you keep that chip as you move to another level from trying to win to now a winner in the series?
I know it might not seem like it with the finish last week, but I made a real effort going into 2021 into last year and I joked with my group was the only chip I have is Chip Ganassi. Like, I don't want that old Ross. Like, I want to be Ross really 3.0. Like, I already had 2.0 at that point. Like, I need 3.0, and I just want to be better. I don't want, it got me here, and I'm proud of that, and I wouldn't trade any of that, but to stay here now, I've realized, like, I can't be that way. So, of course, then our first Cup win comes the way it does, and controversy. So, not how I drew it up in my head, but I've made a real effort, and it doesn't show for the finish. But between all of last year, well, I tried last year, and it was really halfway through the year before I could really put it together. And then this year, through the off season, tried to not have that chip. And now it's like, well, that chip is gone, and the Chip Ganassi has stepped out of the sport, so I don't want any chips. Like, no chips on the hauler. Nothing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Have you kind of reshifted your focus at all to playoffs, and like how does the win kind of change the dynamic of the approach now for the rest of the regular season?
It doesn't. I was texting with Jeff Hayden this week, and I wanted to get him down to Concord before the season. I dropped the ball, didn't do it. I'm like, I want to get you before the playoffs, and he's like, that's wild that you're talking about the playoffs already. I'm like, well, you're the only person. Like, nothing else has changed, but I want to be mindful of that, and I want to like, what I've learned through trucks and Xfinity is that when I got there, a lot of times I would try to do more, and I don't want to do that again. I want to just do what got us there. And it's easy to sit here April 2nd and say that. Doing that at the end of the season with 10 races to go is going to be a whole nother level. So for me, probably the mental struggle will constantly come back and forth for having a good grasp on it, and then getting caught up in, we need a stage point here to keep adding, when really all we need to do is go race. And fighting that will be tough. I'm not saying it won't be, but that's really that mental struggle will be just as important as being a little bit physically stronger by the time we get there too.
Okay, let's go in the back.
Jordan Bonder on Odyssey Richmond. What is it about this place that gives you any sorts of challenges, and what's going to be key for you tomorrow in making sure you guys are continuing that streak of consistent quality finishes?
I mean, the key is having all sticker tires. It wasn't that long ago, probably 2016 or 15, somewhere in there, that I was here in Johnny's 4-car, and we drove up into the top 10 late in the race on like an 80-something lap run, and caution comes out with 15 to go, and only tires we had left were scuffs because we didn't buy the full allotment. So we just stayed out and just hung on for 15th place when with stickers maybe we could have stayed in the top 10, and I think at that point we probably had never done that before. So like it's not lost on me that I've walked into Richmond before knowing how much fall off happens, knowing how slick the track is, and like I've got 2 sets of stickers, one for practice that we brought from home that are old, and one for qualifying that you have to qualify on stickers, and then you start the race on those, and then after that it's all scuffs. So maybe one more set of stickers. So those days still are in my head, and how I had to drive and how I had to try to fight off guys when I had scuffs. Like that's just the way you do it back there, and that's how you do it on those programs, and that's how you stay around. So yeah, those days aren't lost on me.
Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Ross, as this new car was generated, I think we all assumed there'd be that one team that kind of took a big jump. Yourself, Daniel's had great runs as well. What has it been like over the course of this season to kind of be that team that to be that specific team that has made that jump? What has that been like to be part of this and to just be on this journey?
I've been grateful, and I keep telling my boys and girls that at Trackhouse, like, thank you for giving me fast cars, because nobody's car is comfortable to drive right now. We're spinning out. I've wrecked. I've overcorrected. But as we went each race, they've made it tolerable, just that extra little bit where I can start to hustle it, and then I have to keep reminding myself, like, come off of 100% because they're hard to drive, and you see guys like we're all spinning out and bottoming out, and it's been a grateful feeling for me that they're giving me cars with speed, but car at California was fast, and I plugged it in the wall head on off turn 4, so can't be doing that.
All right, I guess we've run out of time. Ross, thanks for stopping in tonight or today. Appreciate it.